the game. So if you need to get your Silat rules and regulations right, well, I've got the right man right beside me. So it's been interesting talking to Roz about the sport itself and the history of the
Silat
sport.
from the red corner.
We are going to get into the next one, and you just spoke about how important is this? You spoke about the Singapore Sports School, but how important is the support that we're getting from Sports SG? Then as Singapore Sports Science, we're looking at Sports Hub also. Always being there to support. How important has this support been in the growth of Silat in recent times? I would think crucial.
Very important. The SONOC, the sports ministers, the grassroots leaders, they have been supporting this sport very, very strongly. Without all this support, they cannot go anywhere. Because one of the biggest aspect is financial. You have to be very good funded. The space, the training ground. For Silat to enter sports schools, you need a lot of money, Without money, you cannot do anything. But the government have been funding Silat sports very, very strongly.
And that's been, of course, I would say, much welcome.
Much
welcome, isn't
much
it?
welcome.
NUR HADI NUR HADI. Let's look at NUR HADI in his game here. Started off, looked for that aggressive move. Had a roundhouse kick. You don't normally see that too often. We haven't seen it actually all day.
Yeah.
And followed up very quickly with a drop. He's got an entirely different style from what we saw from the earlier two lads.
Yeah.
Whether it was Abdul Razak or Sheikh Firdaus. And Nithuthorn himself.
He's more attacking, right?
He's more of an attacking lad.
Yeah.
He doesn't wait, he goes for it. But THANET Nithuthorn just tending to be a bit more defensive. So it's really going to count as to who's better. I would believe that a Silat who's very strong with defense and with blocks can also actually pull off a win in a match.
Can.
Depending on how perfect his blocking techniques are.
Doesn't mean you are aggressive and attacking, you get the points, You have to hit the vest.
And that's so important, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the point.
So what we're looking at right now is in the first round, it's still NUR HADI who's got a fair advantage.
Yeah. The Thai opponent is at loss,
I thought that there was an appeal for a point. He was wondering.
He won't be able to appeal. Only his coaches can appeal.
What do the hand gestures normally signify from the lads when they have their hands up like that, or when they point the finger and they say no?
They are trying to influence the jury. I punch you, then no. So I'm telling the jury, it's not a hit. It's not a hit.
So it's like in every sport.
Yeah,
we're all guilty of that, aren't
we?
Yeah. So here it is, the first round, totally swung in favor of NUR HADI, and I think that's because he took the early initiative, went for the attack very, very early in this match. Now this could all change, and this is where the coaches play such an important part.
So now they are pointing all those mistakes and how to block, The coaches are very important. No matter how good you are, even the Khabib need a coach. Yeah.
How trying is it, or how difficult or challenging is it to work under a coach when you are at this level of Silat?
It's very demanding. Every single words that he gave, you have to follow. If not, they easily get pissed off.
But 9 out of 10, the coaches actually get it right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because they've been there before.
Yeah.
Now, a kick like this to the chest, so important or to the west. What happens to an ineffective drop? There's no points, of course.
There's no point. Yeah. Oh, it's quite close here, this game.
It's certainly turning out to be close, isn't it?
Yeah.
It started off in a one-sided manner, but now we are a point away. Or
That's why the coaches are important. After the break, the coaches tell them the strength of your opponent. And you as a Silat, you must follow, execute. If not, what they tell you just finish like that.
I think one of the key differences that we've seen between the Singapore and their Thai counterparts in today's event has been the Singapore Silats do like the drop. They favor the drop a lot,
Yeah.
and that's definitely got to do with the points. But with every single passing event, you also notice that the Thai competitors are getting just a bit more difficult to drop. It's almost like they're reading that,
They're reading, yeah.
and they're coming prepared to hold their ground.
Oof.
So just as you said, Ross, it's now THANET
Yeah.
Nituton who's actually taken the lead.
Yeah.
And that's very interesting. So he was down 7-2 as well in the
Yeah.
beginning. Now it's even Stevens. This is certainly shaping up to be very, very close. 30 seconds still left in round two.
That's a fall.
And NUR HADI
Who? Who? How
was
come the Thai get a
down,
fall?
but THANET Nituton awarded the points for that.
No, that's why they ask for drop verification. For my view, is the Thai which fall. This referee give the Singapore fall. That's why they ask for drop verification from the jury.
And then we, of course, shall see a change in points, most probably.
Yeah.
So still 26 minutes left in this, which is... It's turning out to be every single game gets a little more exciting than the previous one, and that's what we are at right now. This is the fourth match, actually. We did have one walkover, so in reality, it's the third bit of action that we're looking at in the matches, and with every passing match, there's a certain deal of excitement or that X factor that just gets, one notch higher than the other. So today, this current match that we're looking at is certainly a very close one.
Or invalid drop. So that drop doesn't count. Yeah, see?
So that drop has been null and void, which
Yeah,
means that THANET Nituton is still just a point behind NUR HADI of Singapore. And a lot about how this round really gets over will count.
All.
So THANET Nituton, definitely he's an experienced contender.
Yeah.
You can tell.
I can tell.
He reads movements.
He's quite cool. You don't get emotional,
And he looks for opportunities.
See? That last kick, gong, 2 point.
2 points, absolutely.
There's no chance for you to return.
That's almost like what happened with Sheikh Firdaus, isn't it?
Yeah.
Those last few
few
seconds. And how important is that? Really taking it down to the wire. So what started off in the first round, of course, we did see that NUR HADI had a 5-point lead over his Thai opponent. And this time around, at the end of round two, the tables have turned. It's now THANET of Thailand who's got a single-point lead over NUR HADI. Yeah. So this really is going to showcase the decision maker, or the deciding round, and that'll be round three.
Yeah.
And are you leaving this as an open result, and it could be either of these two athletes who'll cap it off, Roz?
Yeah. Very balanced fight,
And this is really what you want to see. You want to see that contest, isn't it?
Yeah. As a Silat fan, you like the fight which is exciting and to the wire,
Absolutely. I totally get that. I've always felt amongst all of us, in the region,
Yeah.
It's always the easiest for the Thais to
A dog,
apologize
yeah.
with a smile. It's just a part of them, isn't it? So
Yes,
natural.
right.
Very proud
And
for
they do
the
that
Smiling
two
tiger.
smoothly, absolutely. So smoothly. So here we have it now. THANET has taken the lead. He's 3 points ahead of NUR HADI of Singapore.
He fought just now.
And it's that drop that really made the
Yeah.
difference, isn't it? They were really
Oh,
tired
a
on
knee,
points.
a knee again, a knee again.
Do you think that he's just about unnerved NUR HADI,
Yeah.
who seems to be just flying below that, looking for answers kind of radar?
Whether he can pull another Sheikh Firdaus?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so important, isn't it?
Yes, right.
I just get the feeling that THANET Netuton, he's very composed.
Yeah.
He's very, very composed.
I think get another minute, 17 seconds.
And this is as close as it gets. This
Yeah.
is as close as it gets. We've still got a few more events coming up for you from the OCBC arena. And it's we promised you it was going to be an exciting one. We do hope that you're enjoying it as much as we are, because it's been an exciting day for us. And here, of course, a few words from the coaches. We've got into the last bit of round 3. It's very interesting to see how this pans out. Remember, in round 2, it was THANET Netuton who took the lead. It was just a single point lead, but here he is back again.
You know why he get deducted the point? Because he hit multiple times when the guy in the ground.
And you're allowed one.
You get only one strike. So this Thai is protesting. See, he bring up the card. So he's protesting the reprimand.
So it's actually a spoken appeal.
Yeah, to the VAR. The VAR will.
bukan pelanggaran.
So he say it's not a fault. So later the VAR will check
The replay.
whether it is.
There's it's such a big on the fence kind of thing when you talk about
Yeah.
VR, and it takes out the human element, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really leave room for error, but
Yeah.
I just feel in some cases really needed.
Yeah.
In some cases
That,
you wonder.
yeah. But with the VAR, you can clear off all those, the favorism, or
Absolutely.
you are against this.
It's clean.
It's,
It
yeah,
keeps it
it's like
clean.
that,
It keeps it clean.
So you cannot blame the referee as being biased to the side, because it's all in.
It takes off the human error or the excuse that
Yeah,
people
the
use for it.
excuse for it.
Absolutely. So still a review being done, and this is so important. This is the part where
He was he was telling him, you hit once, you cannot hit multiple times.
yeah.
Because this is a new rule, so a lot of the federation around the world are new to these new rules.
They're still getting used to it.
Still getting used to it.
And that takes a bit of time, isn't it? Because if you've been practicing it differently,
Yeah.
it takes quite a bit, because
To adjust back, yeah.
your mind
instinct,
or your
yeah.
muscle memory will go. Yeah, absolutely. You'll go with what you've been used to. So the grappling, when you talk about pulling the gi and using the knee, that again is illegal, because
Yeah.
that's allowed in other sports, but it's not
Yeah.
allowed in Silat. So we did see THANET using the knee very often, but he does not
Yeah.
pull
He
the
don't
gi for
pull.
support.
There's a knee, because you don't want Silat to be related to other martial art. So that kind of movement is Muay Thai movement. So you don't
And
follow.
to be fair, I would never like to compare, any martial arts, or never like to compare against. But just to be fair, on one hand, it's more difficult to use the knee when you don't have the support of the gi to pull your opponent
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
right? To
Yeah,
make the
yeah.
impact. But on the other hand, most Thais, just as they practice Silat or they learn Silat, A lot of them also naturally do learn Muay Thai.
Yeah, yeah.
So that practice of using the knee or the upper area of the thigh to strike tends to be a bit easier for them.
Yeah, you see more Thais using the knee and the elbow
Absolutely, you're right.
because
you're right.
they
And
are,
they do it very naturally.
yeah.
It just is a part of movement.
So their everyone is upheld.
So Thanet Nituthon has to once again, well, just apologize to that. And
Boom! Oh. Ooh,
so it's 2 warnings he's got.
there's another deduct 2 already.
2.
That's why you see, become 19.
So just, I wouldn't say letting down his guard, but he's just not been mindful of
Yeah.
of the rules here, and that can be a problem.
This guy is good, you know.
He can hold his own.
Yeah.
He's got the composure factor, but NUR Hadi pulling in some points here.
Yeah.
51 seconds left.
51.
24-22.
Wow.
We haven't seen a scoreline like this in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. And NUR Hadi just a point behind.
This guy round kick is.
Well, started off very, very confident, and I've
Yeah.
just seen the interesting bit about Thanet Nituthon is his ability to
Stay cool, yeah.
stay cool and
Yeah.
wait for the opening,
Opponent,
isn't
yeah.
it? And he finds that slight gap, or and that's when he takes it down. See,
Yeah.
it's well, that's one smart contestant,
Yeah.
isn't he?
Very drop.
Absolutely.
Just wait for the opponent, you know.
And you mentioned this, Ross. You mentioned this a couple of times today. Patience.
Mm.
How important is that
Yeah.
in the sport, isn't it? So Thanet Nituthon, he's at 31 points. NUR Hadi is at 28. Now
The
31-30.
fall not recorded. Just now you get the fall. It's
I
not
think they've included the punch, but they didn't record
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fall. But
Match
I don't think
result.
that's going to matter to him too much,
Yeah.
because he's just
This
earned that 2
match
points
is
lead, and
won
he's
by the
managed to
Silat
do it
from
extremely well. So it's a
Blue
new
corner.
lease of life for Thailand as Thanet Nituthorn picks up the first win
Yeah.
after he's defeated NUR Hadi bin Nur Shamsuddin
A
of
close fight,
Singapore in a very closely fought match. 32-30 was the final score in round 3.
Yeah.
Definitely the closest of all the
Yeah.
contests we've seen today.
Cool head. This one.
I think quite a seasoned
Fighter,
Silat,
yeah.
isn't he? And he's also he's read his opponent. That's the beautiful part.
Yeah.
Really read his opponent.